object of a cluster whose average dissimilarity to all the objects in the cluster is minimal. That means uniformly it is distributed. So it's an object inside that particular cluster whose average dissimilarity to all the objects inside the same cluster is minimum. So that data point can be considered as an midpoint. It's an object inside a cluster from where the average dissimilarity to all the remaining objects inside that particular cluster will be minimum. So that is the average, that particular data point or data object will be called as a midpoint. The difference between k means and k midpoint, it may be acts as a set question, maybe acts as a medium answer type of question also. So difference is that already we discussed that in case of k means, basically the centroid is defined in terms of mean value, whereas in case of k midpoints, it is represented as the data point, which is also called as the midpoint value. So the difference between k means and k midpoints is analogous to the difference between the mean value and the median value, where mean indicates the average value of all the data items collected. Like yesterday we discussed the k-means algorithm. Everywhere we need to find out the average value, and once we get the average value, that will be your new center. Okay, so the k-means algorithm which we discussed, so that is the mean value is basically the average value of all the data objects inside that particular cluster, while median indicates the value around that which all data items are evenly distributed around it. That means it's a data object inside the cluster from where from where you can have uh, equivalent, you can have minimal distance to all the remaining objects in that same cluster. You consider any cluster, this midpoint will be a point inside that particular cluster from where the distance to other objects inside that particular cluster will be minimum. So that is midpoint. But it k means what we are doing, whatever data objects will be there, we are taking as the mean value of the data objects, and that will be considered as the center value or the centroid value. But we are not doing that. Rather, we need to find out a midpoint, means a data point or data object inside a cluster. One object will be considered as a midpoint value, from where the distance to all the remaining objects inside that particular cluster will be minimum. So we say that all the data items from this midpoint point or the midpoint data object, all the remaining data items or data objects, they are evenly distributed. Okay, because the distance is minimum there from the midpoint data point to all of the data points. So what is the basic idea? This thing will be more clear when we'll discuss the problem. The PALM algorithm, don't be confused, PALM is same as K-Meadows algorithm. So the PALM algorithm is based on the search for K representative objects or midpoints among the observation of the dataset. Like yesterday we discussed the K-means algorithm. In the initial step, what we are doing, whatever K value is given, randomly you pick off K number of data objects from the n number of data objects which is given as the initial data set, that is capital D. The same thing is applicable to here also. We need to select arbitrarily or randomly, we need to select K objects, data objects from the n number of objects given as the data set capital D. Okay, so capital D, which is the data set given to you, or so from that capital D, the data set consists of n number of objects. Out of this n number of objects, you have to randomly pick up k objects as the initial midpoints. Okay, just like your k means. In k means also we are doing the same thing. Data set will be given to you, that is D. N number of D contains n number of objects. Here also D contains n number of objects. So in K means we are arbitrarily selecting K objects as the mean value or the centered value for K number of clusters. But here what we'll do, we will randomly select K number of data objects as the midpoint value. Okay. So after finding a set of K midpoints, now in step one, arbitrarily or randomly we have selected K objects as the midpoints, K midpoints. So once we'll find out this set of K midpoints, clusters are constructed by assigning each observation to the nearest midpoint. Okay, so whatever remaining objects will be there, total n number of objects. Out of n objects, we have randomly picked out k number of objects as the k number of cluster, k number of methods. Whatever remaining objects will be there, so the remaining objects will be assigned based on the distance metric. But you remember here, in particularly K-means algorithm, we are computing Euclidean distance, but here we'll compute the Manhattan distance. Okay, Manhattan distance. It's a very simple. If 2 points will be given, first point, let's say A, coordinate is x1, y1, and second point coordinate is, let's say it is B and its coordinate is x2, y2. So x1, y1 is 1 point, x2, y2 is another point. How do I find out the Manhattan distance between these two? It's very simple. Mod of x2 minus x1 plus mod of y2 minus y1. Okay, so the difference, sum of the difference between these coordinate values. So mod of x2 minus x1 plus mod of y2 minus y1. This will be the Manhattan distance. So in K methods, basically we are using the Manhattan distance. Okay. So based on this Manhattan distance, now the remaining data points will be assigned to the methods, the nearest methods, and finally clusters will be formed. Okay, so this is the second step. First step, what you have done, out of the n data objects, you have to randomly pick up k number of data objects as the methods value, initial methods value. Step 2, now you need to find out whatever remaining objects you have to find out the Manhattan distance from each of these remaining data objects to the already selected sent methods value. And then you have to assign the data objects to the wherever distance is minimum to that particular method, you have to assign the data object, and finally you will form the cluster. So clusters are constructed by assigning each observation, that means each remaining data object, to the nearest method. Next, each selected method and each non-method data point are swapped and the objective function is computed. Objective function means the cost will be computed here. So what we'll do is, once the clusters are formed, okay, so whatever cluster we have, and what we have done initially, we have taken k number of methods. So k number of clusters are already formed in step 2. So you fix one cluster, take another cluster. Let's say k value is 2. So what should I do? I will fix one cluster, another cluster, second cluster I will consider whatever data objects will be there. One of the data object already we have selected as the method in step 1. So besides that data object, whatever remaining objects will be there, you randomly pick up one object as the method value. That is the new method value for the second cluster. Okay, first cluster, I repeat once again, carefully listen. After forming the cluster, let's say k value is 2. That means 2 clusters we have already formed. So what I'll do is, you fix any one. Let's say cluster 1 I will fix, or cluster 2 you will fix. The choice is yours. So you fix one cluster. Consider the second cluster, the other one. Inside that cluster, whatever data objects are there, already one object you have selected as the method value in step 1. So you forget about that particular data object. Whatever remaining objects will be there, you pick up any one remaining object as the method value, new method value for that particular cluster. First cluster method is fixed. Second cluster, now method is changed. So after changing this, you again what will do now, considering that new data object as the method value for that particular cluster, and the first cluster method is fixed. So now you considering these methods, again you recompute the Manhattan distance, assign the different data objects to different sent methods value, so that again clusters will be formed. And once cluster is formed, you calculate the objective function and see whether the cost is more here or the cost is less here. If after swapping, that means in the second cluster, whatever data objects you have initially taken as the method value, now you have changed that, you have swapped that, you have changed that method to another method. So that's why you have performed a swapping there. Cluster 1 method value is fixed, but cluster 2 method value you have swapped that. Initially at step 1, you have randomly picked up one object as the method value. Now you have changed that, you have swapped that. Okay, so after swapping, you have to compute this once again. You have to formation the cluster, you have to compute the objective function. if you see that if the cost after swapping is less than the previous cost, okay, then you have to what will do you have to carry on this swapping. If you will find that after swapping this cost is now it is more than the previous cost, then you have to stop there. No more swapping will happen there. You have to stop, and that will be the end of the algorithm. Okay. So next, each selected midot and each non-midot data point are swapped and the objective function is computed. Once I'll give an example, this point will be more clear. The objective function corresponds to the sum of the dissimilarities of all the objects to their nearest midot. Okay, how do I compute this objective function? So we'll discuss all these things. The swap step attempts to improve the quality of clustering by exchanging the selected objects and the non-selected objects. Okay, the idea will be more clear when we'll discuss one problem. If the objective function can be reduced by interchanging a selected object with an unselected object, then the swap is carried out. Okay, I have already told that what you have done. Now initially you have selected let's say k value is 2, so two clusters are formed. First cluster, one cluster you remain fixed, the other cluster, consider the other cluster. Inside that other cluster already one data object you have selected as the midot value in the step 1. So you forget about that data object. Out of the remaining objects inside that particular cluster, you randomly pick up any one, and you consider that now this is the midot value. So first cluster midot is fixed, but the second cluster midot is you have changed now. So now you consider these are the two new midots, and then again you have to formation the cluster, and then you have to compute the objective function. Then you need to check whether the objective function, particularly it is cost. So the cost is more or cost is less than the previous step. If cost is more, then you have to stop there. If cost is less, then this type of swapping will keep on happening there. Okay, until and unless the new computed cost will be greater than the older cost or the previous cost. Whenever the new cost is greater than the older cost, you have to stop there. But how do I compute this? All these things we'll discuss that through a problem. The goal is to find k representative objects which minimize the sum of the dissimilarities of the observation to their closest representative object. And dissimilarity of the midot Ci and the object Pi is calculated by using E equal to Pi minus Ci, mod of Pi minus Ci, where Pi is the object and Ci is the midot. The object minus midot, mod of object minus midot will be the dissimilarities of that particular object. So in that way, we will find out, and this is the formula to find out the cost here. The cost in k-midot algorithm is given us. It is simply whatever, I will give an example, this will be more clear. And these are this is the k-midots algorithm. Initialize, first step is the initialize step. Select k random points out of the n data points as the midots. So initially n data points or data objects will be given to you. From there you have to randomly select k data objects or k data point as the midot value, initial midot value, and then associate each data point to the closest midot by using any common distance metric method. Normally we are using Manhattan distance metric here. So using that Manhattan distance metric, now you find out the distance of the remaining objects to this form the centroid, the midots values or the midots data object. And wherever the distance is minimum, you have to assign that particular data object to that particular midot. So in that way, you will form the cost cluster. Step 3, while the cost decreases, okay, cost decreases means the new cost, if it is less than the previous computed cost. Okay, as long as this new cost is less than the previously computed or previous step cost, then you have to continue this loop. What will do? Now for each midot M, for each data point O, okay, data point O means it's a non-midot data point. M is a midot data point. Okay, so M and O, M is the midot data